Oh, fuck. Oh, we're live. Hey, what's
Yeah,
up,
you sound
everybody?
so enthused.
I know, like, ugh, today's weather
Uh,
wasn't any better than yet. Well, it was a little bit better. We got some rain, right?
I don't
For
know.
like
I felt
20
it
minutes.
worse today. I felt it worse today. Today, I actually
Well,
taught
today,
shirtless for the first time in my life.
oh, wow, look at you. Yeah. It was, what do you call it? More humid. It was like the heat from it wasn't as hot as yesterday, but it was way more humid. And then we got like tropical thunderstorm for like 20 minutes and then
Yeah, it
back to
was
hot.
humid. It was rainy. We got like 7 seasons in one day.
Oh, it fucking sucked. And I've been up since like 9. And so I was gonna take a power nap before the broadcast tonight, except that I always forget that living outside of America, everybody else on the fucking planet uses the 24-hour clock. So I put like 9:30 as the like to wake me up, but it was like 9:30 tomorrow, because it reads 9:30 as 9:30 a.m., not p.m. You got to put 21:30. So it was fortunate that I woke up because I was done, man.
Yes.
I was like, I was in dreamland. And then I was like, wait, I feel like I've slept more than an hour. Should I wake up? Like, it's weird when when you're conscious and you dream that you're sleeping and you're debating with yourself whether you should wake up or not. That's what I was doing. And then I
Yeah.
woke up not too late, thankfully. So we're not on at a horribly late hour, but I did want to start around 10. What time is it now? Yeah, it's 10:30. So yeah, guys, this is our lives right now. We're like stuck in and this is only spring. It's not even summer yet. Although summer is usually better. Spring is
No.
the worst season here in Brazil for me because it rains a lot more. It's muggier in the spring, you
Oh, I
know?
don't. I don't find that at all, man. I find in summer,
Really?
like especially, yeah, around carnival time. Well, we won't have that problem this year, but it does tend to rain the most, like between January and March.
Oh, it's the Rains of March. There's actually a famous Brazilian song called Águas de
Yeah,
Março,
that's when
the
my old
waters of.
place used to get flooded.
Oh yeah, you're right. Um, I don't know. I guess I feel it more in springtime because it's muggier. It's like, and everything's
Yeah, because
birthing.
it's a sudden change. It's a very sudden change.
Yeah, maybe I'm get used to it by the time the new year arrives. But you're right, because I remember it hasn't been that bad. So thank you, global warming, I guess. I don't know, because I remember when I first came to Brazil, it used to like January was the worst. Like it used to flood, immense flooding all throughout the city January. Every neighborhood, not just like the kind of outskirt
Yeah.
neighborhoods. I remember walking home in like knee deep rain
Hmm.
sometimes. And so that was rough, but uh, that's part of living in the city. Because our city, guys, that we live in is built atop various rivers. The Instead of
Yeah.
redirecting rivers, they just kind of built the city over them. So when it rains, the water level just goes up in all these underground rivers throughout the city, and you get flooding all the time, quick flooding.
Yeah. Well, my problem at the old place was just that we had no drainage, so it would
And you lived
land
in the
on the
motherfucking
sundown.
basement.
And I lived in the basement, so I was literally getting pissed on.
Yes. I mean, now you're above. You're like the king of the
I
hill.
am above ground, above the cockroaches.
Yeah. So you've moved on up, literally. Uh,
Yes.
Yesterday, by the way, guys, Pete was over here and he left his My Little Pony notebook at my house. Um, and we were recording the Alien podcast, which was about 2.5 hours. So I'll whittle it down to maybe 2 hours by the time I'm done. Although I thought we did pretty well. I don't think I'll have to cut down that much.
It was pretty
Uh,
good, except for the fact that we spent at least 30 minutes talking about stuff that had nothing to do with aliens.
yeah, we tend to go on a few tangents sometimes, and I'll let a little bit of the tangent go because some of it was relevant to the to the themes of Alien. But yeah, sometimes we'll go off because we drink a bit too much.
Right.
Um, during these podcasts. But yes, so Pete left his notebook here, and before we came on, we were talking a little bit about bronies, which are these guys, adult males who are really into My Little Pony. Pete's not one, by the way. It's just I think this was the cheapest notebook he could
No, it was the
find because they're
cheapest notebook I
expensive down
could
here.
get at Carrefour.
Yes. But bronies, man, there's a I don't know if it's a documentary or a live stream. This girl, she talks about the history of bronies. I guess she used to be part of the whole culture, and then she um, got out, but she's like a mega insider, and it really goes deep into like from everything from just adoration of the little ponies to like some sexual desire for for the ponies, which then goes down to the whole furry culture. And then Pete told me about some alt right. What is it? Alt right
Yeah, yeah.
furries?
There's like an alt right gay furry movement.
Yeah, but they don't consider themselves gay because they class
No, no,
themselves out.
because when you're making love to a man dressed as a pink bear, you're not making love to a man. You're making love to a pink bear, which
Which
is
remind
wow.
Yeah, which reminds me of like old school shit. I remember I've heard stories about Desi Arnaz, Lucy's husband, that he used to like getting his dick sucked every once in a while by a dude. And
Yes.
like back in the day, but they used to kind of compartmentalize it in their head as not gay because if they're getting their dick sucked, it's different if they were sucking a dick. If you suck a dick, you're definitely gay. But if you're just getting your dick sucked, not. Or even if you fuck a dude,
Yeah.
you're not completely gay. You just kind of like needed to get off. But if a dude fucks you, then you're definitely gay. So it's like weird, like these dudes that can't uh, can't deal with their own sexuality, they'll kind of compartmentalize. And by the way, before we get on to the show, there's one more weird thing. As long as we're on the topic, down here in São Paulo in Brazil, there's something called a goy, Goy. And when I first saw it, I thought it had something to do with Judaism because goy is what you call the Gentiles. They're called goys in Hebrew, but it has nothing to do with that. It's these heterosexual gays, which doesn't make any sense, but
Okay.
that's what they call. Instead of being gays, they're goys. So, and they have goy bars here. And what goes down in a goy bar? You can bring your wife if you want or your girlfriend, and it's just in all of their propaganda. It's like for men who enjoy the company of other men, and they'll have like rooms or spaces for like heavy petting, uh, some touching, but like they won't go as far as doing each other, but they'll just
Right.
enjoy the presence. It's like I don't know, circle jerking. I guess when you're a teenager, if you've ever circle jerked, I guess okay, that's not gay. We're just exploring ourselves. But okay, I can ride with it when you're like 12 or 11. But then after a certain age, if you're still circle jerking with your friends, past, I don't know, the age of 16, 17, I think you might like that dick, But, guys can't. Some dudes just can't bring themselves to say that. So it is what it is. So, yes, that is what's up. So look out for the Alien podcast. It's coming. Star Trek is coming, I promise. And today, I thought I was going to be alone because watched a few things that were a bit older, but it looks like Pete also saw some movies from 2016, 2000, wherever. So we're going to go down memory lane
Yummy
today.
is new, actually. Yummy is came out
2000,
May, I think.
2019 I have here on
Okay, I thought it was newer than that, but whatever. Still fairly
yeah,
recent.
but it's fine. It's new to you and it's new to whoever oh no, look, this is so weird. I don't get how they do this. Now I see that came out June 2020. Okay, that's bizarre. Yeah. Initial release date in Belgium was December
No, I
18th,
think it was released
2019.
in Belgium in 2019, and then
Yeah.
they released it on Shudder in 2020.
Oh, I got you. Um, what I was gonna ask you something, Pete, and I completely forgot what it was. Oh, fuck. Oh, I know. I wasn't gonna ask you. I was gonna give you an update. Updates, guys. Updates are always nice. Uh, First update is on Cobra Kai. I saw episodes 5 and 6, and I really liked them. So I kind of liked it a lot more. I didn't watch further than that. I'm still in season 1, but those 2 episodes are really good. So maybe I'll end up liking this series at some point. It's not at the point where I clicked on episode 7, but I was like, oh my god, these 2 episodes had all the feels. And it was the one where it was like in memory of Mr. Miyagi. That was a really good
Yes,
episode
yes,
where
yes, yes.
where he finally starts opening the gym, and then the little fat girl joins the gym, and she's so funny. She's so cute, that little fat girl.
Yeah, yeah. The
And
new characters are great.
yeah, and he starts cursing all the kids out, like the one kid with the messed
Yeah,
up lip, and they're all, and I'm like, oh man, that was cracking me up. I was like, okay. He's like, back in my day, we used to bully kids to their face. You bunch of pussies. They're all doing
yeah,
cyberbullying today. That was pretty funny. So
yeah.
I'm kind of getting into it. And Pete, what do you think of the Asian persuasion Lovecraft Country episode? Did you enjoy that?
Yeah, no, I loved it. I thought it enhanced the theme of the show quite a bit because I felt that the theme was that we really can't judge people of the past too harshly because they're products of their times. But so far, that narrative has mostly been stuck in like white racist. Like so far, there hasn't been any good white people in this show. All the white
Yeah.
people are monsters, and all the black people are victims. And in
Yeah.
this show, they flipped it a bit, and they made Atticus the bad guy, like fucking torturing and executing civilians. And it said, like, look, no, we're not all just about like demonizing white people. We're just saying that people of the past were different. And,
Yeah.
like, don't pass too much judgment on that. Lovecraft was a motherfucker. But here we are paying tribute to his work. So, just sit back and enjoy a good story. And if you learn something from it, good. But otherwise, just enjoy a good story.
Yeah, and I think you'll get a little bit more of that this next episode. I'm not going to talk too much about it, but it was out there. But it deals with a little bit of these themes because, mini spoiler, I mean, at some point, Atticus is going to find out about his dad, and his reaction I thought was very realistic, and it may not be pleasing to a lot of the woke crowd, but I thought it was the right
Yeah.
reaction that he would have if he found out that his dad was gay. So, but it was a wacky episode. But don't tell Renee that I watched it because we're supposed to watch it together, in case she's listening. But I'll watch it again with her, and I won't give too many spoilers. But it's out there. Every week I say it's out there, and then it just goes
They're all out
further out
there.
there.
They're all out there.
Yes, this is dealing with some Afro future stuff, which is kind of wacky, but I love it. But let's go. Let's get into it. Right before we started the podcast, our honorary podcast member Craig, he just posted the trailer to the Bronx versus the Vampires versus the Bronx or something like that. So I just had to watch it beforehand, and Pete and I watched it together. It looks really silly, but it's kind of coincidental, serendipitous, because tonight I wanted to talk about a movie that I saw a few weeks back. I had watched it when I was younger, when it had first come out, but I had forgotten mostly about it, called Attack the Block. And while watching Attack the Block, I was thinking to myself, man, I wonder if they've ever tried to do an American version of this movie, and I think this Vampires versus the Bronx is pretty much their attempt at it. And it stars a young John Boyega, way before Star Wars. This is from
Oh, wow.
2011. Yes. And it's also got Jodie Whittaker, which is the current Doctor, if you're a Doctor Who fan like myself. And Yeah, it was a cool movie, man. I remember watching it some late night TV, but I didn't remember much of it. So it was so cool to see it again. And I actually watched it twice. I watched it once by myself and then again with my friend Renee. And it centers around this teenage street gang that have to defend themselves from this predatory alien invasion. And it's very tongue in cheek and very British in a way that they I don't know, they like British humor is just a lot more biting and cutting, and just the way that these kids talk to each other. They're like, I guess they're supposed to be maybe
Yeah,
13 or 14 in the movie, and they're just such assholes. Like, it doesn't try to give them a silver lining, even though in the end you do fall in love with these kids. They're they're like great little badasses, but they're an actual gang of kids that are
right.
robbing people on the streets, and just being total badasses. And when this alien comes down, they kill the alien right away. They just beat it up, and you're like, wait, is the movie over? But then the other aliens come. It's the rest of the aliens that come that creates a problem. um but there's so much like Brit when they're cursing and like, "Oh, bruv, we're not gonna let these aliens take over a block. They came to the block, bruv. This ain't this and this ain't that. They're not gonna fuck us up." Uh and so they attack the alien. There's the alien attack. Jodie Whittaker plays this lady who gets mugged by the Boyega character at the beginning of the movie. But as things go, it ends up she lives on the same block as they do. So when they're running away from these aliens, they end up kind of meeting up and they team up. And it's cool that um, they don't what do you call it? They don't work to try to make him into this uh, uh,
They don't try and redeem him.
victim. Yeah, they don't try to redeem him. That's the word I was looking for. They don't try to redeem him, even though he does get redeemed just by
Yeah,
being who he is, of being the hero of this story. And but it sprinkles in some type of social messages throughout, like even when they're asking her where her boyfriend is, and she's like, "Oh, he's in Africa. He works with like the Red Cross or whatever." And then the little boy's like, "Yeah, he couldn't take care of little black kids in London. Like, is London not exotic enough for him?" So it takes a few jabs every once in a while at like some social issues, because it is set
right,
in their version of ghetto, which is the block. And meanwhile,
right.
when this poor Boyega, he is getting shit on by all sides because the cops are after him because she reported him to the police. The aliens are after him, and the leader of the gang, like, the hardcore leader of the gang, who's the big drug pin, is after him too, because when they're running away from the aliens, they smash his car. So everybody's after this boy. He plays it so well. And I remember I was watching something and it mentioned this movie in how this is like the movie that probably sold him to Disney, because he's so charismatic, even at this age, that it was clear, this boy could hold himself. Well, he could hold people's attention on screen. So I highly recommend this movie. It's a lot of fun. Again, like I said, very British humor, tongue in cheek. We talked a little bit about this, Pete, when we were talking about Cuties. Which, by the way, did you ever manage to watch Cuties?
No, I haven't gotten around to it yet. But like I said,
Yeah,
I
when you
tried that one time, and it was subtitled, and or no, it wasn't subtitled. That was the
yeah, it
problem.
was
It was
dubbed.
dubbed, and so
Yeah,
I didn't go through with it. And you told me that was the only version available. So now I just got to kind of work towards that.
gonna work up to it. But the in the same way, but what that we were talking about, how European movies tend to like be a little bit more liberal as far as things that they let children do in movies. This is, I think that's the charm of this movie, is
Yeah.
how they
Yeah.
have such potty mouths. You know, they're like they just talk shit to each other. It's like watching
Yeah.
the way Quentin Tarantino characters talk to each other, but just imagine all that shit coming out of like a
Right.
like a 14-year-old's mouth. It's so funny. Oh my god. And the funniest is there's these little boys. They're like 10 or 11, and they look up to the teenage boys. And they're like, "Come on, let us go out with you guys. We're what was the kid's name? I'm like, I'm reckless, and this is like." They come up with these terrible names for themselves, like reckless and oh, probs and mayhem, and uh,
Oh,
and they just
nice,
want to be
nice.
they want to be badasses, and they're and the 14-year-olds are like, you're just little kids, you can't go out with us. Like, go. And then the guy's like, go uh go suck your mom. All these great lines, man. You'll have fun with it, Pete. Watch this movie if you've never seen it. You'll have so much fun with it. It's zips by. And uh since we don't have a lot of new stuff coming out,
Yeah,
sometimes
yeah. I think this would be fun. This
you got to dig into the old stuff. You got to dig into the old stuff to and have some fun with it. But it's interesting because, like I said, great
exactly. Yeah.
movie. I don't know how many U.S. audiences got around to seeing it because it wasn't an American movie. So I was wondering what would the American version be like, or if they attempted to make an American version, and they would have to sanitize it too much because Americans wouldn't be able to deal with a bunch of 14-year-olds saying "fuck you," "go suck your mom," or and all this shit. So it looks like I
And
might,
not
because this
not
trail.
and get a decent rating
Yeah,
because
but even
did you ever see that movie Kids that came out years ago? I think it
oh,
was
I remember Kids.
1995. Kids.
Yeah, yeah, no, good movie.
Yeah, yeah, that movie was harsh, man.
Yeah,
Yeah, and that had like not the actors were 15, and they were saying shit
yeah.
like that and doing like a lot of other bad shit as well.
Yeah, yeah. And even then, I mean, I think that movie gets a little bit of a pass over time, just because it's a serious movie, whereas this one is a comedy, and it's just a bunch of kids in a comedy with really potty mouths and being total badasses and like just really bad kids. I don't know if Americans can deal with that. Like, I think as much as kids got shit on because of what you said, over time people understood, but he's trying to show the reality of what these kids are
Right,
like. But then try to imagine like the Goonies or something, or even like Stranger Things, but they're just like, you know,
right.
stop beating off, or whatever you say when your kids. And that's how kids talk, though. Like, kids have
Right.
worse. I mean, kids talk more shit than adults do. Like, as adults, we tend to mature out of it. You know. So kids probably
Oh
say
yeah,
they
stuff
say
like
way
that.
worse shit to each other than we
Exactly.
do. You know.
Yeah.
So I like that this movie. That's like the first thing that was attracted to me in the movie, is the language. It's like, this is real language. Like, this is how 14-year-old boys would talk to each other. It's all either like sex, or you're a pussy, or you're gay, or whatever, and that's how boys talk. So I dig it. If nobody's watched it, watch it. And there's a great scene here towards the end, because they are trying to get this boy, man. And these aliens, by the way, I give credit to these
Mhm.
alien creatures. They did a really good job with them. Um, they are totally blind. They can only, they move around via sense. So the only thing that you see is really their mouth. And there's a lot of, speaking of aliens, there's a lot of callbacks to Alien when they do a few scenes of their mouth, and like, the lip goes up, kind of like the xenomorphs, where the lip goes up and the teeth just kind of stay there. So there's a few scenes
Right.
like that where they're definitely paying homage to the aliens and stuff like that. But worth the watch. So recommend that one. And now we're gonna move on to something That's not from the last decade. Oh no, 2011 was still this decade, so okay. We're sort of current. And it is, what's the name of this movie? I forgot already. Either
Yeah,
you
this
or
is
Yummy.
yummy.
Yummy from
Yummy.
2020 slash 2019.
Yes.
Yummy, yummy, yummy. I
Yeah,
got love
yeah.
in my
Released,
tummy.
I believe, theatrically in Belgium. Yeah, I believe it was released in Belgium in 2019, but Shudder picked it up in June of this year. So for the idea of this movie is basically this. It is a Belgian zombie horror comedy that is set in a plastic surgery clinic where their main specialty is breast reduction.
Breast
It
reduction.
sounds delightful, and it is actually. Yes, yes. Um, Basically, like I'll tell you the first two scenes of the movie, and then just basically get to the point. The first scene of the movie is pretty simple. It's at the clinic. They're trying to get rid of a body, and an incinerator comes alive and eats them. So clearly, we realize this clinic has a zombie problem. The next scene is these three people going to the clinic. Um, it's a woman who's going to get a breast reduction, and her husband and her mother, who's also going there. They pass this bus full of tourists, and they catch sight of the wife in the car, and they see her tits, and they're mocking her. They're like, "Oh, you're making fake boob signals with their hands." And I'm sorry to say this, but this is the only problem I had with this movie is that her tits weren't that big. Like, oh my
Yeah,
god,
I
like
saw
why
you
would she be
posting
getting a
that.
breast reduction? Yeah, yeah, like okay, like this is the joke of the movie. It's like big titted zombies. That's a good idea for a movie, except the tits weren't that big. And
Maybe
I'm
they're
sorry if
big
that's
by
make
Belgium standards.
yeah, yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Maybe tits just aren't that big in Belgium. As a movie itself, it's fun. It's a zombie movie. It's quick. Basically, the premise is this clinic, which keep women younger, blah blah blah. They came up with something that can make you basically live forever, but it turns you into zombies. So a lot of their patients have turned into zombies. At an early point in the movie, the husband accidentally frees one of them, turns into an outbreak. Everyone's trapped in this facility, and there's a bunch of big titted plastic surgery zombies running around. There's also exploding penises. I should
Oh, I like
mention
that.
that as well. Yeah, yeah, that happens. Giant engorged exploding penises. It's graphic. It has almost no redeeming value except for this. Did you ever watch movies
Repeat
like
that.
Avenger and shit like that? Like
What's the
movies
name?
that were just meant to be bad,
Oh yeah, like
like
trauma
Toxic
movies.
Avenger.
Yeah, yeah, of course, yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
I sent
exactly.
you that
That's
one.
what
Did
I'm
you? Did
saying.
you?
Trauma movies. Yeah,
Yeah, did you watch the Killer Condom?
I tried, but it was I was really drunk and it was 2 in the morning and it was in German. I didn't know it was in German. And I was like, man, I'm too
No,
drunk
it's
to
in
watch a
English,
German
man.
movie right now.
Oh, what? Try
Really? The
again.
one
But
I
I'm pretty
saw
sure
was
it's
in
in
German.
English. Oh, I'll send you a copy in English. It's
Okay.
supposed to be in English. But anyway, go ahead. But yeah, I like movies like that.
Okay.
They're kind of
But
made to
yeah,
be bad.
this harkens back to trauma. Like if you there are serious reviews of this. Roger Ebert actually even reviewed it. And he gave it a terrible review. He's like, they have this. This is what Roger Ebert said. I'm not looking at his review now. I'm just like paraphrasing from memory. But he's like, they have this wonderful opportunity to make social commentary about the shallowness of plastic surgery, and they just go basically for dick jokes. And it's like, but okay, that's fine. They went for boob and dick jokes.
Yeah,
It's intended
you
to
accept
be
it.
like
You
a
accept the
gory
movie on its
90-minute
own terms.
zombie fest that revolves around tit and dick jokes. And
You tend to just accept movies like that for what they are. And you can usually tell by the first 5 to 10 minutes what it is. And if you're willing to ride with it, you ride with it. If you don't, you don't. And you can't be expecting it to have some deeper message. I'm not sure, Pete, are you there? Pete might have been cut off. Yeah, guys, unfortunately, oh, we're into monsoon season down here. I saw a few people had left comments in the Facebook groups about some of these movies, specifically this one, Yummy. And this looks like one that I would definitely enjoy watching. It looks like it's right up my alley. 2019 Belgian comedy horror. And I'm looking here on Rotten Tomatoes, and it's got a 73% rating. Okay. So not too bad. Yeah, I see here that RogerEbert.com. Well, Roger Ebert didn't, unless he unless he reviewed this
yeah,
movie
I'm back. I'm
as a
back.
zombie. Yeah, I'm just thinking. Roger Ebert is dead, so unless he reviewed it as a zombie himself, I think it was from the Roger Ebert site. Although he
Right,
was
right.
never a huge fan of anything too gory, he's notorious for giving movies like this a bad review. So even if had he given a review as the real
Yeah, it would be
Roger
something
Ebert,
like that.
I don't. It would be very similar to what you said anyway. Yeah, but I was just saying as you were gone that this looks like something I would check out. So I'm gonna put that on my list to watch this
Yeah,
week.
it's really short. It's like 80 minutes long. It
Oh, that's
moves
perfect.
fast. Uh, yeah. Like seriously, as a reviewer, my only negative complaint is that like the
You
joke
needed bigger
is the
tits.
tits.
You needed
Exactly,
big.
it needed bigger tits. This is my big complaint.
Oh, I feel you. I know the feeling. I know the feeling. By the way, Attack the Block is also kind of short. It's an hour and 28 minutes. So I like movies that just fly by. They get to the point, and
Yeah.
they just. Which I think the last movie we're reviewing tonight is not like that, from what I've heard from you.
No,
Um,
it's quite long. It's quite long.
Yes. So yeah, I can dig it. I can dig it, and I love me some zombie movies, and I still haven't gotten around to watching Kingdom. I will. I almost clicked on it this week. I just had a shitty week. I didn't watch much of anything, um, but I can dig this. And those Europeans are kind of freaky, so they're weird. Those Europeans.
Yeah, yeah. And if you're turned off by subtitles, it's actually half in English
Okay.
because
Yeah,
most of the
and
patients
dude,
at the
I'm
clinic.
telling you, it the killer condom was not in German. I gotta double check. Did you click on the link I gave you off of YouTube? Because it's on YouTube, this movie.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
It's in German? I gotta remember. Maybe it was, because I think that's part of the joke. Oh, like that. It's an Italian guy who speaks German living in New York. Yeah, so you're right.
That's right.
It is
That's
in fucking
right.
German. Yeah, it's a wacky motherfucking movie. But if you get a chance to watch it not drunk, you'll enjoy the hell out of it because it's right down this alley. Well, I almost confused it for a trauma movie, but it's not. It's this other company. But yeah, it's Macaroni. The guy, the detective is Macaroni, and he's this hairy gay guy.
There's
Yeah.
something about it. It seems to take itself a bit too seriously, almost. Serious, Dad.
What happened?
He's like, the detective who was investigating everything, he was like
Yeah.
really serious. He's like, no,
Yeah, he's
I
very
think a
serious.
condom is responsible for this.
Exactly. So that's what it. So it's all played very straight, which makes it even funnier
Yeah,
when you find out that he's gay and he's very gay and very romantically gay and like what? And it's like what the fuck is this movie? But it does have a little bit of a social message at the end. I'll give it that much. So maybe Roger Ebert would have liked this movie a little bit. All right, moving ahead, guys and gals. Batman. So, like I said, I didn't get a chance to watch anything this week other than two more episodes of Cobra Kai, like anything relatively new. But in my YouTube moments, hazy YouTube moments, I did click on this link from the WB's official YouTube channel, which has been such a saving grace during this pandemic because they have been releasing a bunch of their like from the vaults type of documentaries on their channel. So I've
right,
got to see like the history of the Batmobile, the history of Batman, the history of Superman, like the history of Wonder Woman, and it'll take you all the way back from like the creation of the comics up to the movies. You know, because they own all the properties, so they have access to all these old
right,
clips and all this other stuff. So this one premiered. It's old. It's from 2016, but I guess it must have been like some DVD extra or something if you got the box set or
hmm,
whatever. And instead, you know, they put it on they put it on their channel, so it's worth a watch. It was really good. It's called The Fire Rises. It's this 76 minutes behind the scenes documentary about the Dark Knight trilogy, and it's got everybody in there. Like, what's definitely got our friend Christopher Nolan, by the way, not Nolan Ryan, uh, and you
yes, yes,
got,
Nolan Ryan.
you know, Zack Snyder talks a little bit in the movie. Paul Levitz, Guillermo del Toro is in there. Guillermo del Toro, Michael Mann is in there. Damon Lindelof, Jonathan Nolan, Chris Hardwick's in there from Talking Dead fame, and they all give their opinions and views on the impact of this trilogy and how it really changed the game, which is stuff that I mean it's not news to anybody, but it's cool when it's just presented in the way that it was presented as far as from concept to finished product, how it is that they got these movies to actually be made. Because now, I mean, it wasn't that long ago that these movies came out, but it feels like it was 100 years ago because of everything
It
that came
was
after.
pretty long, though. It was pretty long. Like 15 years? 15 years for the first one?
Yeah, for movies, that's a long time, but it's not that long ago. Batman Begins came out
I don't know. If you're 15, that's a long time.
2005. Yeah, I guess it was a long time ago. Because when did the last one come out? 2016 ish. I guess because
The
the
last one
last
came
one,
out, no, it was like 2012, I think.
The Dark Knight Rises, 2012. Doesn't feel that long ago. I guess time flies. We're all getting old and we're gonna die. There's my happy message for your
It
Monday.
does. Well, I still lived in Canada when the last one came out, so it was a long time ago.
I saw it here on IMAX, and I really enjoyed it. I like the fact that it was
Okay.
filmed in IMAX. Yeah,
Yeah, and
but
it's Craig's favorite movie, too.
oh yeah, I know he loves this movie so much. And Greg loves this movie because he has great opinions on films, and I know that of all the Batman movies, he always talks about how this is like the most well made of them all. And I have to agree with him. I actually did. I actually
Yeah.
dig this movie. Um, But anyway, so this is out there. I mean, I'm not going to talk too much about it, other than they don't make you want to rewatch the whole trilogy again, just because of the insight that they give on the movie making process. The fact that it was a game changer in the sense of that pseudo realism that came into movies to a point where it just became annoying, because now
Yeah,
every movie needs to be dark, every movie needs to be realistic, and it's like at some point I need Christopher Reeve to just be like this gallant, charming dude, flying on wires, and I'm
right,
okay with that. I think that's why I liked
right.
the first Avengers movie so much, because it was like a breath of fresh air. I was like, whew, I can breathe in this movie. Like, we're just
Yeah, it
having
did
fun.
just really just go for like bring the comic book to life, and this is
Yeah,
what
it's
we
like
want. We
let's.
want like all-star team, but it did have its moments too. Like it had like that friction between Tony and Steve. That was good shit.
Um, Give me 1 second here. Oh, I can't find it now. But they even had scenes from this other actor who was almost Batman, but I forgot what his name is, because they even showed like the screen test and everything. But there was this other actor who almost got the part, to the point where he got to wear the cowl and everything. It was, and they wore the Val Kilmer suit for the screen test, which I didn't know. Uh, but
Yeah.
yeah, guys, I mean, such a big impact that these movies had, and it's nice to just go back and uh, go. I'm trying to find this other actor's name, but I can't seem to get his name. So anybody out there who knows, go write it. I had set it apart because I'm watching this movie. I'm like, wait, and it kind of sucks. I kind of felt bad for the actor, because I'm like, fuck, they're showing all his screen tests, but I guess they own the property. But I would feel so shitty if, like, after I screen tested for a part to the point where I almost got the part, and then they're gonna show me to like millions of people, like, oh yeah, this is the guy that didn't end up with the most iconic superhero role, other than maybe Superman. It's like, fuck you. They did that a little bit with the Superman documentary, where they showed all the actresses that screen tested for Lois Lane, and
Right,
I
right,
would
right.
feel kind of shitty about that. Wait, was what actor was almost Batman? Which one of these is your favorite? Which one of
And
these
who
three
would
was
that
your
be?
favorite? Which one of these three were your favorite
Uh,
of this trilogy?
from Warner Brothers.
Just this
So Keaton,
from just this trilogy, just this
Kilmer,
trilogy.
and Clooney. I
No, no, of this trilogy of the
Well, there was only one
yeah. So which one of these was your
of
favorite
the
from this
Nolan
trilogy?
films.
Yes, the Nolan films.
Oh, I the second one for sure. The Dark Knight, the Dark Knight.
Really? I
Yeah,
really like Batman
yeah,
Begins a
yeah.
lot.
I did, but what I liked about Dark Knight is that it really kind of all the movies, even more than the Joker, or sorry, I think it's just called Joker, whatever. I think that actually tapped better not only into the character of the Joker, but into his relationship with Batman, like how they have a codependency. I think it really nailed that, but it also really nailed how like the Joker's thing is like he's not out for money. He's not out for power. He just wants to create chaos. And Batman's mission is to create order. So they're like automatically locked in this perpetual. I mean, it's the perfect rivalry.
I feel you. I got the actor's name. It's Elon. Well, there's a bunch of people that tested for him, but I think the guy that this shows is this guy called Eon Bailey, and this other dude, Cillian Murphy. Look at this. I didn't know this, Pete.
Never heard of him.
Yeah, well, there you go. That's why you probably never will unless you watch this and then you're like, oh yeah, that's the guy that didn't get the part. Um, Here's some trivia for you, Pete. Okay, Lady Gaga was under consideration to play Catwoman in The Dark Knight Rises, although I think Anne Hathaway was perfect for the part. Brad Pitt
Yeah, she was good.
was going to be Leonard in Memento. That's another Christopher Nolan movie. These are different. Okay. Paul Bettany. Do you know who that is?
Wow.
He was up for the Joker.
Say
Okay.
again.
Paul Bettany was the first choice for the role of the Joker in The Dark Knight.
Oh, yeah. He was the villain in Solo.
Yes. The producers were also looking at Jeffrey Rush, Sam Rockwell, Adrian Brody, etc. Kate Winslet to be Miranda Tate in The Dark Knight Rises. Yeah, she would have been good in that. And let me skip here to more. Oh, Anthony Hopkins as Alfred Pennyworth in Batman Begins. Matt Damon
I
as
could have
Harvey
gone
Dent.
with that, but I think Michael Caine needed to work more.
He needed to work more, and I think he plays subtle a little bit better than Anthony
He
Hopkins. Anthony
does.
Hopkins
Yes.
has an air about him, like Michael Caine just looks like he like constantly just came out of the rain. Like he just has this
Yeah.
look about him. Like
Michael Caine's just a dude. Anthony Hopkins, when he comes on screen, it's like, ooh, chills.
yes, exactly. Matt Damon as Harvey Dent. I'm glad that didn't happen. I'm not a huge Matt Damon fan.
No. You know who I would
And
have liked to have seen as Harvey Dent? Not
who?
necessarily in this movie, because his character was written very differently. But who I would have liked to have seen as like a long Halloween Harvey Dent is the late great Powers Booth.
Where do I know him from? Where would I know him from?
Did you ever watch Deadwood?
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh,
you might know him
okay.
from Deadwood. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, he was Cy. He was Cy in Deadwood.
Oh, this
He
guy.
also
Yeah,
played
yeah, yeah.
Alexander Haig in Nixon, which is really good.
Nixon, I've never seen, but
Yeah, I
yes, I
just
got.
think like
He's
he's
in
a character that would
Goosebumps
have
too.
like a really commanding voice. Yeah, yeah,
Mm.
yeah, yeah.
He was also in Sudden Death with Jean Claude Van Damme. But he was in Sin City, whole bunch of movies. All right,
That's
I
true.
can see that.
Yes, he
Leonardo
was.
DiCaprio.
Yes.
Leo DiCaprio as John Blake in The Dark Knight Rises, the young Robin. I don't think that would have worked. Leo's too old. And finally, surprise, surprise.
Yeah, he's getting on in
Chris,
years, although he's still.
uh, Nolan really, he started working with, he considered Heath Ledger to play Bruce Wayne in Batman Begins. And he saw that he really wasn't right for the part, so
Yeah.
he kept him around and he became the Joker, which saves that movie. I'm not a big fan of the second movie. It's probably my least favorite, but he saves the movie. Um, the what do you call
You
it? But
see,
yeah,
what
guys.
I really liked about these Nolan movies is that they incorporated this early stuff that they had from the comic books, like
Yeah,
Carmine Falcone and Sal Maroni. Gotham did that too. Actually, did a good job of like using these characters that just were there and they kind of disappeared, and they're like, no, man, like we created this mythology, and we these characters matter.
They matter a lot, especially if you go back and watch Batman the Animated Series. So much of it is based around the mob, and they really play a big role
Yeah,
in the
exactly.
setting
Like
and
year one
feel.
is all about Batman versus mobsters and corrupt cops.
Yeah, and I think sometimes folks forget that because they get into the cartoonish, outlandish characters like the Riddler and Catwoman, and which is fine too. I mean those are iconic bad guys, but at its core, I mean Batman's a detective and he's going after a lot of these mobs who control the city from the bottom up, and he just happens to have
Yeah,
some whack jobs along the way that he's got to defeat too. So I dig that about the animated series is that it
yeah,
understood that and it gave it this kind of Godfather feel to it. So this movie played
yeah.
off.
Gotham did a really good job of conveying that message.
No, Gotham was great because of that. The As much as I like the Tim Burton movies, but they play off more of the wacky bad guys. Um, but
Yeah,
this movie does that, and it looks like this new Batman movie is gonna go into that same direction with playing off of him, even though it's gonna have Scarecrow in there, but it's gonna be about the underbelly um, the of Gotham City. And the movie talks a little bit about that, this documentary about how they did that on purpose because they really felt how that a lot of these characters were shortchanged, especially Commissioner Gordon in the movies, in the prior movies. So when he gave that
in
part
the
to,
original Warner Brothers movies, man, Gordon got nothing.
he got nothing. Yeah, I mean, he was just. It felt like Get
And
Smart,
he's
with
like
the red
he is a superhero himself. Like Gordon is a
hat.
superhero. I'm a diehard Batman fan.
He is. I like that in Gotham they had him kick ass all the time. And there's actually a comic book that is all about Alfred. Oh, I'm going into Alfred Pennyworth. I'm sorry. But Commissioner Gordon, I'm going. I jumped ship for a second. Commissioner Gordon is, yeah, he's part of the Bat team. Like he's numero dos. I mean, he's right there, and he has a lot of importance in the mythos. And if it weren't for him, Batman probably wouldn't get away with a lot of the stuff that he gets away with. So he's a very important character. So when he gave the part to Oldman, he specifically said, "Look." Because he was first going to cast him as Raz Al Ghul, but then he was like, I got something special for Commissioner Gordon, and I think that you would be perfect for it because Oldman didn't want to play another bad guy. And he's great. I mean, he's one of the better parts of the movie. Seems like we've lost Pete. Okay. Although our sound has been better, but doesn't mean that the internet has improved any in Brazil, the developing nation. So guys, if you get the chance, go there on the Warner Brother channel on your YouTube and check that out. Check out a lot of the documentaries that they have out because there's a lot of good ones. And if you're a fan of DC Comics, then it will make you very, very, very happy. I may have to resend the link to Pete because I'm waiting for him to sign back on. And he may not be able to do it without me sending him the link. So give me a second, guys. And by the way, thanks everybody for watching. Thanks everybody for hanging out with us every Monday and just chatting along. I see you guys post comments everywhere, but you can definitely post comments here in the comment section. It's not an issue. We don't bite, not too hard. And let us know what you're looking forward to watching in the coming weeks. I can't wait for Star Trek Discovery season 3. It's going to premiere next week, I believe. And also The Mandalorian. So it's going to be a good end of the year for sci-fi adventure. Um, and oh, there's Pete. He's coming back as Peter
Hey,
8.
my computer just died, just
Okay,
like
not a
completely
problem.
crashed. But I am back via my phone.
Welcome, Peter 8. It's like Ben 8? Or no, that's Ben 10. But anyway, all right, not a problem. I hope your computer comes back to life at some
All
point.
right, so yes, Batman rules, and there are some
Yeah, well, you were
very good
saying Gordon is a
interpretations of them.
superhero too.
Yes, he is. He is. He is actually. There's a website. I don't know which one. But it ranks like the top 100 superheroes of all time, and they had Gordon in like the top 20. And he is such a cool character because he's not down with Batman completely. But the thing is, one of the things about his character that is defined really well both in year one and in Batman Begins is that he arrives in Gotham City to be a cop, and his job is to apprehend Batman, but his problem is that he identifies with Batman more than he does with his fellow officers because they're all
Hmm.
corrupt motherfuckers.
Yep. No, I get you. That's why I like Commissioner Gordon. He's one of my favorites in the whole Batman of the side characters. I think I like him even more than Robin, which to be honest, I never liked Robin at all. I'm not a Robin
I
fan.
kind of like Dick Grayson, but I like older Dick Grayson, like where he starts to get away from Batman's like paternal control and asserts his own identity. That's when he becomes an interesting character because like initially it's like okay, Batman feels sorry for him, he adopts him, he helps him avenge his parents' death, takes him on as an apprentice, but he shits on the fucking kid, man. And like eventually he grows a
Yeah.
backbone.
That's when he becomes the Nightwing, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, when
Yeah,
once he's
Nightwing's
like,
okay.
fuck this motherfucker, man. Like, okay, he did me a favor, but like seriously, like am I in debt for my life? Can't I have a life of my own? And Bruce is like, no, you can't.
Toxic, toxic
Yeah,
relationship, toxic relationship.
exactly.
Uh, although I do dig the little boy every once in a while. What's the little badass son that he's got? The that was
Jason
trained by
Todd.
no, the one that's trained by Ra's al Ghul, and he discovers he has a child.
Oh, that I haven't really reached that point yet,
It's
actually.
the badass Robin, Robin, Batman's son. What is his name? Um, I haven't read any comics by him. Damian Wayne, him, yeah.
Oh, okay.
But I like the movies
Of
that he's
course,
in.
of course. Yeah.
The son of
Could
Batman
not be
and
more obvious.
Talia al Ghul. But I recommend one of the cartoon movies that introduces him. It's really good. But he's such a piece of shit. He's like, it's hard to like him at first because he's just really angry at the fact that Batman is not just a superhero. He's the super deadbeat dad. He's like he's like the
Yeah.
of all the deadbeat dads in the world. He takes the cake. He's the worst. And and Batman just can't seem to understand why he can't get through to his son. It's because you're a fucking asshole, maybe.
Yeah, yeah, no, he is. That's the thing. I always like flawed superheroes. Like, if you're gonna tell a superhero story, like the best superhero stories are like redemption arcs, um, characters who actually have to find their way to justify being elevated to this point. And
Yes.
Batman's perfect for that because, like, okay, he has like all the right motives, but at the end of the day, he's still like a privileged billionaire with no people skills, and he's obnoxious and he's a misogynist. He is a
And
misogynist. He treats women like shit.
and he's just got issues. You know, he's got daddy and mommy
Yeah,
issues. Like it's everything super. You know, include not just
yeah,
his strength and his knowledge and his and his ability that's super. Also, his level of mental um, mental issues is also super because guy's got major issues. But anyway, let's head on down to the last movies because we've been on for an hour, and I've never heard of this movie. What's it called? American Honey.
American Honey.
American
Yes,
Honey.
yeah,
Sounds like
yeah.
something I
And
wouldn't watch.
yeah, no, I will tell you, this is not for everyone, but it was perfect for me because I will start by saying this movie is fucking long. It's like 2 hours and 43 minutes, and it has no story. So that is probably going to be troubling for a lot of people right off the bat. But for me, it
Hmm.
was perfect because it was Sunday afternoon, and I was like, okay, I got like the whole day to kill. I want to watch something. I don't really want to think too much, and it was actually kind of perfect for that. It didn't fly by, but it didn't drag either. Like for a movie that had almost no narrative story whatsoever, it passed quite well. Like everything about it was great. The characters were they weren't enjoyable actually, they were reprehensible, but they were interesting. And as far as I'm concerned, if you got a movie where like every scene is enjoyable, then the fact that it isn't really telling a story doesn't bother me that much.
Yeah, I can dig movies like that every once in a while. I mean, it is telling a story, but it's not in the conventional sense. Rome was a bit like that. I don't know if you liked Rome or not. I know some people didn't like it, but I loved
Yeah,
it.
well, it was one of those story. Yeah, it was one of those stories where it's like it's in the middle of it. Like when the movie ends, you're like, "Oh, that's the end." And
Hmm.
you realize that's not the end. The story continues. You're just not
Hmm.
going to get to see it.
Yeah, yeah. That it's like one of those day in the life type movies. But I can dig it. I have to be in the right mood for it. I think when I was younger, I used to like movies like that a little bit more. Pete was talking last night about how he doesn't dig these existential type movies that beg you to
Yeah,
figure it out. I can handle those a little bit more. I think as I've gotten older, I can't handle too much meandering movies. Like I need this movie to have like a definite plot that or a MacGuffin or something that I'm working towards. Unless I just have to be
right.
in the right mood to just be like, okay. Like another one like that was what's that? The last one by Quentin Tarantino, the the Hollywood one. The what's the last movie Tarantino did? The about Hollywood. Are you there? You watch these
Oh
movies. You
yeah,
know.
yeah. But
Uh,
yeah, yeah. But like I'm not even a Tarantino fan. And I thought that was okay. Like I
no,
didn't
I
think it
liked
was
it.
great. Some people
I
thought it
liked
was
it.
great, but I thought it was okay.
Once
Like it was
upon a
3 hours
time.
long. It killed it. Yeah, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah.
It killed a Sunday afternoon. It wasn't great. I know
Exactly.
some people were like, "This is genius." No, it's not genius, but fuck, it kills 3 hours on a Sunday afternoon, so I didn't mind it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's how I felt. And it's meandering, and it doesn't get to the point. Uh, But if it's done well, you kind of drawn into the characters and into their whatever they're trying to do in the movie, and you do realize, and it does, like you said, it's like a movie in the middle where there was definitely a lot of life that happened before. There's gonna be a lot of life that happens after, and we just get kind of like this snapshot of whatever their life is as we're watching.
Yeah,
And if the
snapshot. That's the
yeah,
perfect way of describing it.
yeah, and if the
So
characters are interesting, you just ride with it. You know, I just like I said,
yeah,
I think
yeah,
I've lost the patience for movies like that as I've gotten older, but they can be good. When I do end up watching one like
yeah.
Once Upon a Time or Rome, it's Rome or Roma. I think it was Roma. Uh, it's interesting. Like that movie Roma.
Roma.
It
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
The
it's
Mexican
like
one. Yeah,
yeah, like it. I just got swept away into this other place for like 2.5 hours, however long that movie was, and it didn't feel like time was it like it was slow. It's like okay, it's a long movie. It's black and white. There's no discernible plot other than just
yeah.
following this young maid around. But I got to see her world. Like I would have never seen that outside of that movie of like being in Mexico around the
Right.
revolution, what it was like for her as a young woman of a lower class, and you just kind of go with it. So I could dig movies like that. I'd be no, I'm not gonna say I'd be
But
interested in watching this one, but you know.
the one thing about Roma though that makes it a little better than this one is that it did have that climactic scene at the beach where like they all came together as a family, and
Hmm.
you're like, okay, this is what the movie is about. This movie just doesn't end; it just sort of stops.
Oh, I got you. I got
Right,
you.
right. With Roma, like that scene where they come together at the beach and she saves the kids from drowning, and mom's like, okay, like
Well, they
you're part of the family now. Like we together are a family. Like that was the message of the movie. And with this one, it's just like, where's this girl gonna go? I don't know. They don't really say. It's just,
it
you
just
know,
stops.
like she's
Yeah, I
got
mean,
more
because
steps to say.
yeah, because movies like that, man. I mean, you got to be a real master behind the camera to be able to pull it off. Because it's all about theme. It's like thematic. It's like everything that happens has to work off of the theme. And like, there's a great movie called Two Women with Sophia Loren and I forgot the other actress, but very young
Yeah,
Sophia
that's
Loren.
the one she won the Oscar for, right?
Yeah, classic. And it's just, I mean, it's one of those where they're just kind of these two women on the road. These, and it's very literary in the sense that it's based on it's just a working off of a theme, like books work better like that than movies. It's tougher to do it in
Yes,
movies because in
yes.
a book you're just kind of
The
inside the
narrative
mind.
makes it. Yeah,
Yeah, because you read a book and you're just inside the mind of the main character. Sometimes it could be 3 chapters where he hasn't left his house, but
right.
you're getting 3 chapters of different perspectives of his feelings while in this house, and you're okay with it. Movies don't work that well like that unless you get this
No, they
real
don't. They
good
don't.
filmmaker who can do it. And in
Yeah,
Roma
well,
for me,
have you seen the movie version of On the Road?
I didn't even bother.
Okay, yeah, because
Right?
like that's like an all-time literary classic, and it's a shit movie because the
That's what I
book
heard.
depends on the narrative, and in the movie there's no narrative, so it's basically just like two shitbags traveling around the country, being poor and listening to jazz, and that's not interesting. What makes the
Yeah.
book interesting is Kerouac's narrative.
Yes. It's a shame, but some well, I shouldn't say it's a shame, but yeah, some stuff is just it's not very translatable, which is amazing that they managed to make a decent version of Toni Morrison's Beloved because I mean it's got a plot, but Toni Morrison is a writer that is very much into painting pictures with words, if you want to use a cliche,
Right.
and and it's hard sometimes in her books things are in the present and in her past and it's future then it's this, so it's amazing that they even managed to get a little bit of her book translated to the screen. So some stuff is difficult. A book I really love is Siddhartha by Hermann Hesse, and I think there is actually a version of it. I've never
Yeah,
seen
yeah,
it.
yeah. That's a good one.
Is
Yeah.
it a good one? Okay, because I'd like to
No,
see
no,
it.
I've never seen the movie. I didn't know there was a
Oh,
movie actually.
yeah, I heard there was one, but I didn't hear great reviews. But it's one of those books too, where I'm like, I don't know if anybody could really do that book justice, because it's so much
Right.
about just his playing on the theme. But every once in a while, you'll get a director that can get close to that, and and usually it'll
Yeah.
be
Well,
off of an original work, though. It'll be off of an original work
yeah.
because they'll know how to do those
I,
things, but in a cinematic landscape. Go ahead.
I will tell you there are some scenes in this movie that are really great. Like I haven't even like introduced the premise yet, but basically like we got this chick, our American honey, who is living in Muskogee, Oklahoma. She's raising two kids that are not her own. They're her boyfriend's kids, I believe. And she's black, and her boyfriend keeps a Confederate flag in his room. So that tells you what a classy fellow he is. And she meets this guy at Walmart, I believe, who's with this crew that travels around America selling magazine subscriptions. I'm not even sure that the magazine subscriptions are legitimate, but at any rate, he offers her a job, and she's so sick of her fucking shitty life. She's 18, by the way. She decides, like, fuck it, I'm gonna go with this guy, and she goes, and it's all these people roughly the same age, like 18 to 22. Most of them are obnoxious and unlikable. The girl that runs this scam is basically a cult leader, and the guy that lures her in, she falls for him. They're paired up. Basically, he's supposed to train her, so he takes her on sales calls, door to doors, tries to teach her the ropes, shit like that. And I don't know that she actually falls in love with him, but she gets feelings for him.
This
But
is
he's
Shia
fucking the
LaBeouf, right?
yes, yes, yes,
LaBeouf, who's a really great actor
yes.
despite all his personal issues.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So he's fucking the cult leader, but actually the cult leader is fucking all the men. And it turns out our boy Shyla is actually fucking all the women because she's paying him to recruit women to the group. And he particularly picks on people who basically they have nothing else. So like the group owns them, right? Like if you don't follow the rules, you don't do things our way, we're just gonna abandon you on the side of the fucking road and you're gonna be lost. But these two they develop a relationship, but it's precarious. It's a very precarious relationship.
I got you. Um, Teen dramas. You like this stuff. By the way, how are you doing with your 90210? Are you finished? Because I haven't seen you post that much about 90210.
Oh, because I'm watching season 9, dude. Just before this podcast, I was watching an episode actually, and yeah, season 9 is tedious. I don't know how I made it to the end.
How many
um,
seasons are there of this show? It's nine or
10,
10?
10.
10. Oh, so you got one more to go.
Yeah,
Well, you're gonna
yeah,
get to those seasons which I like to call the reason this show got canceled seasons. I felt like this
exactly.
way when I was doing a rewatch of the X Files, and it's so
Yes,
great up
yes.
to like season 7 or 8, and then you're just like,
Yeah,
all
it just
right,
hits a point.
I see why this show got canceled because it is a chore to get through that last season of it.
Yeah.
But
But
but some
90210 is rocking for the first 6 seasons. First 6 seasons are fucking gold.
Yeah, and then you just have like hit and misses. It happens. It happens to the best.
Yeah.
Happened to the Walking Dead. Guys, we're about to sign off,
Yes.
but for the Walking Dead fans, I just saw a promo for Sunday. New episode. the new and last, I guess, for this season, and the premiere of this new zombie show and set in the same universe, which I guess has a bunch of teenagers in it. I forgot the name now, but so yeah, Walking Dead fans, last episode of this season, and then next season is going to be the last. Finally, they're going to end this show, which I'm like, thank you, because it just felt
Yeah,
like it was
that
beating
took forever.
a dead
Dexter.
horse.
Dexter was another one like that. Fuck.
Yeah, they just go on a little too long, and it's a shame. Sometimes I kind of like the British viewpoint of that, but they make them too short. It's like you gotta find a nice middle ground,
Yeah,
like
they really
5 to 6
do. Although
seasons.
sometimes it works, man. You want to see a really good British show? Check out The Fall.
Yeah, you
The
told me that.
Fall.
Gillian Anderson's in
Yeah.
there, right? Yeah.
Yes, starring Gillian Anderson and Jamie Dormer.
Yeah, I have a friend that told me about that too. I gotta get down on that show. Get with it because people really like it. Yeah, I mean, if it's told like a mini, like if it's like a mini movie, then it's okay. Like you just give me an extended movie that's in 3 seasons or something, then I can deal with it. But if it seems like it's a show that could go on for longer, and you give me 3, 4 episode seasons, I'm gonna be pissed.
Yeah, Peaky Blinders is like that. Peaky Blinders, I mean, it's the greatest show. Peaky Blinders is so awesome. But it's like you get into a season and it's like, what the fuck? 6 episodes? Are you fucking kidding me? It's over and I have to wait a year for the next one? Like, you just kind of have to wait for those shows to be over and then just binge them all at
And
once.
just binge them all. Yeah, I think Netflix figured out the right formula. Like 10 episodes, give us about 6 seasons, 6 years or something, and we're good. So Uh, that seems like the right balance for it. But anyway, guys, so just news for all the Walking Dead fans. I probably won't be doing the Walking Dead podcast anymore. I kind of quit on that when the show just got a bit of a chore to watch. But that's all, folks. I'm going to go watch Lovecraft Country with my friend Renee now.
Oh,
And,
nice.
but don't tell her our secret, Pete. And,
No.
um, and that's it. Until next time, y'all. See ya. And thanks for watching. Adios. Buenas
Yes, and
noches.
thanks for the patience again.
Guten Nacht. Yeah, but the audio was nice. Actually, I'll tell you this again. You sound better on your phone than you do on your computer. So if you want for future
Yeah, well, my computer fucking
podcast,
died. My computer died in the middle of the podcast. That was
yes,
unfortunate.
that is never a good thing. So hopefully it can be resurrected. So
Yeah, no, it's
good luck
fine
with it.
now. It's looking at me in the face, so we're all good.
Yeah, it just is like I can't deal with this shit in the middle of the night. But if you want to do it on your phone, man, your audio sounds even clearer on. Even
All
though I
right.
mean the audio's been way better since you moved, but it's even crisper on your phone. I think because maybe the microphone is stronger, so it
Yeah,
sounds really good.
probably. Probably.
All right. So
All right.
until next time, adios, people. Bye.
All right.